90s, we didn't know what we had. TV, movies, back when life wasn't so bad. Life is layered like a cabbage. It's time for movie baggage. Movie baggage. Now it's time for movie baggage.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Movie Baggage, the movie watching podcast where me and my co-host
Hi.
return to old. Well, we were supposed to wait till the intro was done. That's fine. Movie Baggage, where my co-host and I look back at the movies we grew up with and decide, are we carrying emotional baggage from this? Were we scarred? Were we too young? Who are we? I'm Jake Palmer, unemployed improviser and possibly stand-up comedian. And my co-host is Victoria Lear. Vic, how you
Hi.
doing?
I'm good. I'm happy. Ready to be here.
Ready to
Ready
be
to talk
here.
about this.
Great.
I have problems, and I want to talk about them.
Well, before we get into your problems with the movie, how are your problems doing in real life?
They're good. They're busy. I'm tired. I believe I was telling you earlier, I've been taking some beatings from my 3-year-old. It's a tough lesson to learn that when you are told to put your shoes on, you can't just hit someone in the face about that. It's a rough time. But yeah, other than that, I'm fine. I watched this movie last night again at absolutely midnight. It was so late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good time to watch it. This is a dark, dark movie.
Actually more colorful than I remember.
Yeah, it is in the daytime mostly.
As, as far as my memory, I thought it was darker, but
Well, before we get into
color-wise.
it, do you remember seeing this for the first time as a kid?
So I do. I remember when it first sort of was being advertised, and as a child, I remember my primary thought being like, I would love to eat a gigantic peach.
Oh yeah.
I had never read the books, so I was unfamiliar with any of the plot or premise. Uh, the peach and the poster that was at our Hollywood 20, which was the theater of the time, uh, looked delicious, and I wanted it. And then my only true memory of it was being really creeped out. I watched it, I didn't like it, I was very creeped out. Um,
Yeah.
I remember that I eventually liked the spider, but she still my overarching memory is I was creeped out. Um, and I didn't like it. But I also, and this may be problematic for us moving forward,
Oh
uh,
boy.
or maybe this stems from these types of movies. I hate coming of age tales.
What?
Like as a whole, like in general. Um, I'm really I'm really over the whiny orphan who has magical powers and a band of loyal friends that will sacrifice anything for him, still being sort of like a whiny bastard until the very end. Um,
Well, I'm so glad you're on this podcast.
yeah, I think it'll
This
be
is
great. I think it'll be
we are
good
doing
times.
we are going to do a lot of kids movies from the 80s and 90s. We're both millennials, just so the listeners know.
Yes,
Uh,
as old people now.
but we're going to set this rule right now. It's not only going to be kids movies.
No,
Because
because as children, we were allowed to watch some totally weird movies. I don't feel like our parents were nearly as concerned with what they were allowing children to watch.
no, mine were, but
Oh,
I didn't grow up no nerd. I saw a couple R-rated movies when I was a kid, and we're going to get
oh,
into how those scarred me.
you didn't grow up as a nerd?
All right, let's get into this movie. So, we watched James and the Giant Peach, a kids movie that came out in 1996. I was about 8 years old, and I also remember it coming out. This was a home video I had, and
You
I
owned
was,
this?
yes,
Proper
I
owning,
owned
not like
this.
a
I saw
bootleg?
this multiple times.
Wow.
And I was not as freaked out by the bugs and stuff. I liked them.
Yeah, I bet you would.
So this starts out as a live action movie.
Which I had completely blocked from my memory.
You
When
did?
this movie started, I immediately checked to make sure I was watching the correct movie because I genuinely had no memory this was a live action movie.
Yeah, no, I did
Absolutely none.
remember there's a change. So it starts live action, later it goes into stop motion, like Nightmare Before Christmas style.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely getting Nightmare Before Christmas vibes later in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning, live action, we're on the beach with James and his parents, and life is good, baby.
And it's also already a lie because they're going off about how the most beautiful and wonderful place in the world is New York City.
I know.
And as
I
if
was gonna say that too. I was gonna say that too. So the narrator goes, James's life is perfect, and then we go into their conversation, and all three of them are his mom, dad, and James are just obsessing about New York City. They live
like
in England, and like, if
as
life's
if
so
this
good, why do you guys want to leave?
as if this perfect idyllic beach with his family and loved ones and clouds that magically turn into whatever the fuck they're talking about is somehow subpar to the absolute filth of New York City. Because here's the thing about New York, it can be fun, but it's disgusting. It's
All right,
gross.
guys.
It's covered in ants.
Vic is coming out strong already to
I'm
all our New
just,
York listeners. She thinks your city is disgusting.
have I lived in Boston for too long? Maybe.
That's right.
Maybe.
She's
I lived in Boston
Boston.
for about 10 years, and I'm telling you this,
She
I
is
visited New
Boston
York,
strong.
and every single time I visited New York, it was gross. Now, not as gross as Philly, and I don't think Philly even minds that because every time I've ever been to Philly, somebody somewhere has exposed themselves in public. And I just think that's part of Philly. But New York, the idea of like these three people who apparently live a perfect, idyllic, lovely life being like, but you know what we've got to do, boys? We've got to go to New York. I just don't get it. I don't understand. Although I will say later when we get to it, I have new feelings about this.
Okay.
Because I went down a
Fighting.
really weird rabbit hole, which I'm fairly certain was incorrect, but now I'm on it.
All right, we'll get to Vic's rabbit hole later. But for now, so yeah, they're obsessing about another place, even though their life is perfect. And then pretty quick, we get the bad news. And the bad news is James's parents are eaten by a rhinoceros.
Yes.
And, I do remember that from being a kid, and it just being disturbing because we all know rhinoceroses eat grass, right? So
Well, and
the thought of an
yeah,
herbivore eating a person just for the hell of it is disturbing to me.
and I was surprised because I felt like I remembered that they were run over by a rhinoceros, which feels like it makes more sense, but that's not what happens.
No, they are eaten by one.
Eaten. Yeah. Um, and very, very, very dark turn, makes no sense. Can only presume it's through the lens of a child who doesn't understand what happened. Um,
Well, this is based on a book by Roald Dahl,
mhm.
so it's a kid's book, and I think that is in the book. They are eaten by a rhino,
Consumed entirely.
and it's just gonna get worse for James. He's got to live with his miserable aunts.
Ants, who it is never described
I
what
say
side of the
aunts because
family.
I'm a little fancier than you, but
Excuse me, how dare you?
you know,
The aunts, uh,
aunts.
aunts, are shockingly evil and unbelievably cruel. It's completely unclear which of these totally delightful, perfect parents they are the siblings of.
That's true.
Because
They don't explain the
theoretically,
why they turned out so different.
why are they unbelievably evil? But I have a statement to make. My first true adult versus child discrepancy on this film.
All right, this is the time in the show where we go to Vic's statement of the week.
I
Let's
mean, it
hear
might
it.
be those ants can fucking dress. Their outfits
Mm.
are so good. There's this whole scene where they're on the beach, which is now like a craggy, rocky, horrifying hellscape, and they're like in these super good like loungewear outfits. And I just don't know, was that trashy, flashy clothing in the 90s? But like today, I'm like, yeah, I would wear every article of that because by the end of the movie, their outfits are in tatters, but every outfit is like something I want. Like I would pay money to wear every outfit they wear.
Yeah, it seems like all they do is hang out and dress up in super fancy clothes. That's what they like to
Super
do.
fancy. But like
The ants'
also,
names are Spiker and Ant Sponge, by the way. Spiker
yes,
and Sponge.
Spiker and Sponge. But yeah, I mean they've got an excellent fit. Their fashion sense is mwah. I love it. I want it. I would wear it.
But
I would become
anyway,
evil for it.
yes. But they're mean. They make James do a bunch of chores around the house. He doesn't have any friends. They do a
Mm-hmm.
little montage of him gardening, doing different stuff. I had one question. Did you notice, was he whiting out a chair? That looked like a bottle of whiteout, and he is painting an entire outdoor chair with it.
Well, and this is part of the thing is like what work could he possibly like what are they having him do? There's so many things where you're like where is this
Well, what do you,
dead
they got
rocky
a nice
outcropping?
they got a nice piece of land there. It's gonna take some work to upkeep.
What would have made more sense to me, and this is a completely irrational comment, is in the beginning scenes when they're at the beach, you can see this lighthouse. Why aren't they just living in the lighthouse? Because then his work would be endless, because running a lighthouse is incredibly taxing and grueling. And he could have been doing that work. They could all be, but they don't. They live in some weird castle shack. It's like both somehow an evil
You
castle
think
on
it
the
would have
hill
made
and a shack. And
you think
there's
it would have
nothing, there's
been you think it would have made more sense for them all to live in a lighthouse and just have two ants that run a lighthouse?
the lighthouse is there. Presumably they would have inherited it. Like when I first saw the scene, I was like, oh, his parents, they run that lighthouse and they're dreaming of not having to do that, I guess. But then that wasn't what happened. There's a
Mm,
lighthouse in almost every time they pan that village, every time they have the scene on the beach, you can see the lighthouse. You can't show
maybe
me a lighthouse and have it have nothing to do with the movie.
I think the lighthouse is just a metaphor for loneliness, Vic.
If you bring that movie up, we will be here for 5 hours. I hated that movie
No,
so
this
much.
podcast isn't about that. All right. So yeah, we got a lot of mean stuff going on.
Moving on.
They feed him fish heads, like raw fish heads.
Okay. So first of all, there's so many things we need to talk about the raw fish heads. One, why were they in the oven if they're just going to be raw?
They weren't in the fridge, were they in the oven?
No, he's like, she goes, there's a surprise for you in the oven. And he opens the oven,
Oh, that was just to
surprise,
fuck with him, Vic.
raw fish heads. Madness.
That's
Absolute
they were just
madness.
fucking with him. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we got a treat in the oven. Oh, it's raw
Which
fish heads."
here's the things that I didn't understand at that time, because of course I remembered almost nothing of this live action segment,
Yes.
was where are these fish heads? Because you're telling me these two ants that won't do a single thing for themselves butchered a fish and put the heads on these plates? Because to me, it would have been that James butchered the fish, set the fish heads aside, and then surprised the ants, put the fish heads in the oven, and we're like, that's your dinner.
All
It
right,
doesn't
that's a
matter.
huge plot hole. You
It's a
got him.
huge plot hole. The movie is ruined.
Nailed them.
I would also like to say uh, that I had completely forgotten this entire movie was a musical.
Yes. So we get into a scene. This is the I Want song for people in improv or in theater. Uh,
Theater.
and I'm just gonna get this out of the way now. These songs, they kind of blow, right?
They're the worst songs of any Disney movie. And until someone shows us one, until we discover a worse one, this is going to stand until it is dethroned because I have never in my life heard not a single song in the entirety of the movie is even catchy. Like you can't even sing with any of them. And I get it, they're having kids sing, but the amount of character persona that they put on all of the performers of these songs makes them essentially unlistenable. They're so poorly sung and poorly written, except for there is one banger song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I will save that for when I believe it has happened.
Okay. When you believe it.
I believe it. It's a banger, and I think it inspired other Disney songs. Um, but I will wait on my opinion as it is nowhere near this part in the movie. Not
Yeah,
even
the
close.
songs, they're trying, but I feel like they were an afterthought.
Are
It's
they?
kind of
Like,
like
are they
Nightmare Before
trying?
Christmas. They're trying to get it in there, but these actors aren't singers either, some of these guys. But yeah,
Ugh.
pretty I can't remember a word, but James sings a little song, I'm assuming about how lonely he is and how miserable his life is.
Yep.
But this is about when things really kick off, guys. This is he goes outside. Oh, he finds a spider. He sings. Oh, the song is to a spider. That's his only
I
friend. I
I had a
forgot.
question because that
Question.
spider, my question was that spider did not look realistic in the thorax. The
I think it was a
the
real
I
spider
think it was a real spider with a prosthetic
in
thorax.
costume. He was in costume.
Who was the spider costumer? These are the questions.
We
Who
should have we should have done
costumed
some
the
research
spider
on
because
that.
it moved way too realistically. But that thorax was not real. I think they had somebody put a prosthetic on a real spider. I think somebody put a prosthetic on some sort of tarantula, like
No,
a small
it
tarantula.
was a good effect. It made it look strange, but it
Did the
definitely
spider
still
get
looked real.
credits? I want to see the spider
I
credits. That
didn't
was
I
some
looked
good
at the
spider
credits.
acting. That
I
was some
looked at
good
the
spider
credits, didn't
acting.
see him. But
It's
that brings
ridiculous.
us to our next plot point. And this one, if you guys aren't paying attention, this goes by quick. And I went to the
Forgettably
credits
so.
just because this character comes in so fast and then leaves without ever introducing himself. In the
Nope.
credits, he is old man.
And he's not that old. That's
And that
painful.
that is an insult. The actor, I recognize this guy. He is Pete Postlethwaite.
What
Pete
a name.
Postlethwaite. And he is not old in this. He's got middle aged at
I mean,
oldest.
maybe he's 35. I don't even think he's that old. I think he's just a 35-year-old that maybe smoked at one point.
Yeah,
Like, I don't even
so
think he's that old.
rough to call him old man, but you guys might recognize him. He is the hunter in Jurassic Park Lost World. He's the guy who's obsessed with killing the T-Rex. He's great in that.
That's
Yeah.
bizarre.
He comes in. I'm just going to call him a weirdo because he just pops in with a vest and he immediately starts talking to James. Doesn't know him at all.
Oh
No
no, but he
introduction.
does.
Oh,
But
well, he
that's the
knows, you're right.
thing.
He knows
That's
him, but
no, way creepier. He knows everything
he
about
knows
him.
everything about him.
He knows his name, he knows his family history. He's taken his little toy. Like, listen, this guy who's on the other side of some dilapidated wall whispering secrets about how he can make your life better. He knows you're miserable, which is the weirdest thing is because for as miserable as everything was up until now, James himself had never described himself as miserable. Like not really. If anything, he was talking to the spider with like a lot of kindness and hope and like
Hmm.
I'll hide you and we can be friends and it'll be our little secret and we can dream about our beautiful dreams together, which is bold considering his aunts are literally spawns of Satan. Um, but then this old man comes, starts whispering to him from beyond the wall.
But yeah, anyway, he wants to help, and his help is a sack of wriggly, glowy, wormy guys.
Crocodile
He
tongues.
calls them boiled crocodile tongues.
Hmm. With an
And
assortment of other witchy.
oh yeah, it was a real gross sort of cooking recipe. He said
They're
boil it
neon pasta.
and
They're
put.
obviously pasta when you look at them.
Oh, I thought they were little grubs like bugs.
No, they're twisty. They're the twisty pastas. If you look at that, they're twisty pastas, and they've been painted like a neon green, and then they're animated to wiggle.
And yes, they move around. Gross little grub guys is what I call
Gross.
them.
Absolutely gross.
And
Yeah.
he's like, "Here you go. This is gonna change your life for the better." So when a stranger offers you a sack of glowing grub guys, your life's gonna get
Take
better,
it.
kids. Thank
Just
you.
take it. I was unclear because he came and went so quickly. He didn't even explain how to use them. Like, was James supposed to
No.
eat them?
Yeah, I
Like, was he
think
supposed to, like, it was completely unclear how they were supposed to be utilized from the get.
he probably thought it was obvious.
Right. Right. So clear, so obvious.
I mean, when a guy shows up with this kind of stuff, like you know what to do.
And
And
for pacing reasons, this guy instantly shows up, instantly vanishes, and James instantly drops all of them on the ground and loses all the magic he had the potential to have.
yeah, he messes up right away and spills all those grub guys into the dirt, and they all escape.
Like millions of them. He can't catch
There's millions in that
one.
bag. Yeah, he didn't get one of them, and then Spiker and Sponge are out the door. They're right there. They're like, "Get in the goddamn house." But what do we see on the tree, Vic?
A butt.
The most disgusting peach I've ever seen in my life.
There's a brief moment when it's growing where it's like, that's a butt. And then they cut to not showing the whole peach. And I think that's because they did more takes with it. And then when the editors were looking at it as a whole, they were like, oh, this is inappropriate for children. Let's do those other camera angles where you can't see how much it looks like a butt, because those very first it's a little peach and it doesn't look very appetizing, then it gets bigger and it is absolutely a butt, and then they cut to it from behind so you're only seeing like the edge of it and not the full buttocks shape. um
Yes,
but
I will
yeah.
say this opening scene, all the opening scenes with this peach are gross. And yeah, because it's kind of like a deflated sack at first, and then they inflate it like a balloon, and it starts
Hmm.
stretching out bigger and bigger, and it's growing right before everyone's eyes, and then it gets gigantic,
But
and
somehow the stem never detaches.
it doesn't detach. That's part of the there's a lot of magic going on from here on out, where the rules are not explained at all, but a
No.
lot of magic stuff is happening. The ants, of course, are thrilled. They have a freak show sized peach that they can show off now for money. They immediately want to make money off it.
Which is weird because again, it doesn't seem like, I don't know. It's just their want of money was never explained early.
They are selfish.
They're just all aspects of evil. Now they're selfish too. I mean, they've been selfish, but like anyway, yeah, they're immediately gonna profit.
And yep, they have all the people in town come see it. They're paying money for it. They kick out this kid just for asking to eat it.
And this brings me to my first nominee for best line of the movie. Uh,
Oh,
I have identified three contenders that I feel could be the best lines of the movie. And this comes to the first one. As everyone is in line, and as you're aptly saying, they are, somehow unbelievably nasty to these people who are paying money just to come around a fence and look at the peach, even though you can see the peach over the fence. It's unnecessary to go to the other side. Irrelevant. This line is basically a throwaway because it almost immediately cuts away and is sort of half volume. But as the people are coming through the line and they're collecting tickets, you see in the line a preacher, to which Spike goes, "Sorry, Father, it'll cost you double." It cuts away, but leaves the audio of "May God forgive you" of the preacher. I loved it.
That is
Uh,
pretty good. If we're doing lines though, I got one when the Peach first shows up. What I think it was Aunt Spun. She goes, "I'll be blowed."
I'll be blowed. Yeah. I'll be blowed is good. I'll put it down here. We can have four
Okay, well, we'll put that on
nominees.
the list. This is
Uh,
another segment Vic's gonna do. Best
ooh.
line of the movie.
I mean, I think it's important. I think it's important to consider, especially because, to be quite frank, this movie doesn't have a lot of them.
No, the
Not a lot
action
of
comes
contenders.
pretty quick once we get set up here,
Hmm.
which we're about to really launch into. All right, so they had a big day of getting that money. People had to see that peach, right?
It's a big peach.
It's a big peach. I'd say giant.
The thing that is questionable is the amount of money they seem to have collected from what appears to be one day of showing off the peach. Because it stacks. The
Well,
table's full of stacks of dollar bills, which are all really neat. Not the type of money you'd think that people coming to pay, like, I don't know what British people pay, a
pounds.
petant pentance
A
pentance
pittance?
pittance pittance.
Hay pennies, maybe?
I mean, like, you're just walking around the fence. How much can they possibly be charging?
Well, keep in mind, I think this is 1950 or something, so people
It's
are
actually
bored.
it's actually 61. Um,
Oh,
we'll get to my rabbit hole later.
okay. Well, it's 1961. There's no internet. People are bored. They want to see a giant peach. They'll pay anything to see.
Anything, literally anything.
But anyway, this is when the movie really kicks off. James has to go out, clean up garbage, as usual. And he just can't help himself. He's gotta get a bite of that peach.
No, no, you are misremembering already, sir.
Oh.
He finds his own lantern thing again that once held all
Oh,
the
yes, a grub
juju
guy.
bugs, whatever the grubs were. He picks it up, and like a moron, he'd been chasing around all of those. There was still one in the bag. It's like he never checked the bag to see if there was still one left. And that one, he immediately loses. And it runs off, and he chases it. And while all the other ones sunk into the ground instantly, this one is a runner, and he chases it into the peach, basically.
Vic, you're pretty hard on old James. You're starting to sound kind of like an ant here.
Do I want to grow up to look like Spike? Maybe. I mean, I'd hopefully have better teeth, but that's a minor. I'd hope to be a better person for sure. But looks wise, that ant is rocking it. Every outfit, absolutely incredible. I
Yeah, and you
apologize for
also call James a dumbass and that he can't get anything right.
immediate. There's not even a breath between him being handed essentially the keys to the magical kingdom and him tripping over a rock and spilling literally billions of these tiny little grubs everywhere, and he can't catch one of them. Now this time I get it, he gets a bigger sense of urgency. Maybe he's much more adept at chasing them, but it goes into the peach, and he grabs the piece that it's in and he eats it, right?
Yes, that's what happens.
That's what happens. Because it goes in and he like yoinks the piece out of the peach.
He
And
winks it.
the imagery of him putting his hands into the peach flesh is icky.
Yes, we get some more disgusting peach imagery here.
It's also the
It
only,
juices, slime is just coming out.
but the initial insertion of hands.
Yes.
It's the only shot where the peach has fuzz, and
Hmm.
it's not good.
And let's just say it, he climbs up right into the rectum of this peach.
Oh
That
my
is what
God.
this looks like.
It looks exactly like an anal cavity. It looks exactly like if you've ever seen footage of a colonoscopy.
Oh yeah,
I think
that's
I'm assuming
it's in
that's
my
what they were
algorithm.
inspired off of. They were like, what does the inside of the human colon look like? Perfect. Make it slightly more orange.
All right. So as you're getting over the shock of this imagery, not only is he climbing through the rectum of a peach, he is turning into a stop motion character. This is where we get out of live action and we're getting into stop motion. He himself transforms into a little puppet looking guy.
I didn't like how they made his head bigger but his body smaller.
He's got a
But
little body, big head.
that's just a stylistic choice.
Yes.
I I'm not gonna fault them for that. I just didn't like it personally.
Okay. You're not going to dock points for that one. Thank you, Vic.
See, I can be generous.
Very generous. But he gets into that peach, and we immediately are bug barded.
Bug barded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are bug barded with bugs.
Yeah.
Giant bugs. They're bigger than him.
Yeah. I believe they mention that the centipede is 7 feet tall. I
Is
believe
he?
it's like when he's crawling through the sphincter. I don't know what you'd call it when he's getting up there into the peach anal cavity. You can hear the arguments before you see the bugs, and I
Yes.
believe that who we later find out to be the grasshopper is saying to who we later find out to be the centipede that he's 7 feet tall. Not that I feel like this is very important for me to keep track of for plot holes and continuity, but I am keeping track of it.
Okay. Good work.
I apologize for nothing.
Don't ever. Well, we get introduced to these guys quick. Like James walks in and we're just like, yeah, I'm a giant centipede. My name is Centipede. I'm a giant spider. I'm a spider. Or my
Yeah,
name is Spider. Their names are just Spider, Centipede, Worm.
yeah. Miss Ladybug,
Miss
uh,
Ladybug, she's the nice
Grasshopper.
one.
Oh, and then don't forget the glowworm, the one who's completely unimportant and almost never contributes besides the fact that they needed light in the peach.
Well, she old. She is
She is
old.
old. She's pretty funny, but she does nothing. She easily could have just been a candle.
Ouch. That's an actress who voiced her, right? You're telling her she could have been replaced by a candle.
You mean the 4 throwaway lines that she had? Okay, I apologize. I'm sure she worked very hard.
Well, anyway, these guys get introduced, and almost immediately, Centipede says, we have to get out of here. And they just go, let's go to New York.
Right. Now, to be clear, the centipede is basically from Brooklyn. He has a
He
thick American accent.
inexplicably, this British centipede has an American accent.
He's described as a Yank by the worm. You got to be
Right.
paying attention to this complex dialogue that is happening between these insects. He is described as a Yank. How an American centipede ended up in this British town, no idea. But that is an American centipede, and he wants to get back to New York. Everyone else is on board because they just are in fear of being sprayed to death by the ants.
Yes.
But I want to talk about one of the first contenders for something that may have left perhaps scarring is maybe not the right word, but an emotional disturbance, a thing that is perhaps perverse now in all of our minds because of this film.
Mm.
Why are French women so mysterious and sexy no matter what their bodies are like? Because how do you make a giant spider a French woman and then all of a sudden that's the mysterious sexy one?
I don't know, but it works on me every
It
time.
works. I don't know what's going on with that spider. She's got really high heels. Like, is it the inclination of the fact that she's wearing, like, is it spiders have six? No, spiders have eight legs? No, that's
That's
not it.
right.
Spiders have eight legs.
That's right. Yes.
I'm not crazy. Whatever,
Oh,
doesn't
you're
matter. My point is she's got like thigh high heel boots on and
yeah,
a
on every leg.
pixie cut and dramatic eyeshadow, and she's like a dismissive French woman, and there is
Yes.
something unbelievably alluring about that. And I don't know if that's the fault of the French or the fault of this movie.
I blame the French.
I think we should blame the French. I think this phenomenon existed before this movie. I think they were using that if they'd made the spider any other nationality, you could not have made a giant spider woman sexy. But by making her French, she is.
Alluring.
She's alluring,
It's also
right?
voiced by Susan Sarandon, and I think that comes through.
I think that does come through. Accurate. Best part is just the spider. Um, Followed it by
Yes,
the
she is
grasshopper to me.
great.
Yeah.
You're not a fan of Centipede.
Centipede's fine. I'll get into my issues with him as a
Okay.
character later. I'll say this about Centipede. I think that he's fine for the dynamics of the party. I think that he's necessary. I think that he's significantly more interesting than Ladybug and the Glowworm. Uh,
You know who I
who
think the hero of this is?
are you gonna say Centipede?
Earthworm.
Earthworm. Yes. Poor guy. He doesn't even want to go on this trip.
No, he doesn't, but we get a lot of worm comedy out of him. It's great.
He's also
Uh,
integral to every plan.
when
Like
they're talking,
every
yes, we'll get to
every
that later. But first off, when he's talking about his brother getting chopped in half by a shovel, and he says, "I now have two half brothers." That's good worm comedy right there.
Oh, that's good worm comedy. I'll put that down on the nomination.
Nominations for best line.
Hmm.
All right. Well, Centipede, he says we got to get out of here. He goes up, he chops the peach off the tree, and we're rolling. The peach is rolling.
The peach is rolling.
And I'll say this, I did like this. This is a good idea, a good creative idea. The peach is gigantic. It's rolling down the hill over this town,
Hmm.
and it rolls over a picket fence, picks up the pickets, and now they have a sweet little walkway going all the way around the peach for later.
Yeah, it's nice problem solving. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I also don't know if you ever played the most wonderful video game of all time, and I this isn't a debate, it's just a fact. Katamari Damacy, a game where you just roll up shit to make bigger shit. An
I've heard of it.
insane, an insane Japanese fever dream that still sometimes when I see something in a nice row, I imagine how many meters I'd need to be in order to roll it up. Um, Nice and neat, all clean. The fence gives real Katamari Damacy vibes. It's so good. It's so satisfying. Like, brilliant. Now you have a walkway and also good rolling. You got that whole fence. That's a lot of points. You're going to get some size bonuses for that.
Right, of course.
I'm sure everyone was thinking it, even though I know for a fact Katamari Damacy came out pretty long time after this movie. Doesn't matter. I liked it. I appreciated it. Very satisfying, especially for peach stuff. Peach stuff in this movie is usually not satisfying, so seeing something satisfying with the peach is nice.
That was very nice.
Is very nice.
So they roll
Nice.
straight into the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where what?
I was gonna say we missed a little bit because we missed a joke, which was that when the ants take off in their car to chase the peach rolling down the hill, brief glimpse, their license plate says Hag 742. Oh, 748. It's important. It's not, but their license plate calls them hags. I just think that's funny.
That's funny. What do you think the number means?
I don't know, and I wish that I did because I did this my whole weird rabbit hole. I thought the number would come back up. It didn't. All
Well,
right.
they're in the ocean, and this is another weird piece of magic. We didn't mention that James's only possession in the beginning is the travel guide to New York.
Mm, incorrect. Travel Guide to New York, which got ripped up
No,
by his
I was about to say that.
But the other possession he had was the little him riding the grasshopper,
All right,
which he
I'm cutting all this out, by the way, that you're correcting me.
he
This is all getting cut.
inexplicably sends off into the sky, even though it's his now only possession. He gets rid of both of them. I'm
All right,
sorry.
my point was going to be
Mm-hmm.
his only possession was the travel guide. His aunts rip it up and
Yes.
destroy it. They
Yes.
get on the peach. He checks his pocket. It is back, completely fused back together.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, it now works as like a GPS tracker that shows them where they are on the map. How does that work?
It's also weird that a travel guide to New York would have even had, because it's really a pamphlet. It's not even like a book guide. It's like a fold out pamphlet. Why the back of that was a map of the entire Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah, that is strange too. But
I don't know
mostly
what
my problem is how do the glowy grub guys give you GPS technology in 1961?
See, this is not a plot point that bothers me because I
That
can
doesn't
just
bother you.
no, because it's just as weird as everything else. Sure, he's got his fucking thing back. That lantern reappeared magically like 30,000 times. And the cricket with the boy riding it and the candle, which is what he uses to light the little lantern, shows up whole back with him on the peach, even though we never even see him getting that back. And I don't even think the candle was lit, which doesn't explain how it was able to float. Um, I mean,
Right.
I'm more bothered by the fact that they chose to have the spider web come out of her like neck or back or something rather than her
Oh
butt.
yeah, the spool on her back that was a
Mhm.
little strange too.
I'm more bothered by that plot point. You want to tell me that the map is back and now it's like a magical map? I don't know. These grub things got into everything.
Yeah, I guess they're all powerful.
They're all powerful. Could have done so much more. We're blessed that he was inept at using his immense and unchecked power.
Yes. So they're gonna go to New York. I don't know if this was explained, maybe I missed it, but they decide we have to fly there. We can't just float
No,
there.
you don't understand how it was explained?
I missed
You've
it. It
forgotten about the weirdest plot point of this whole goddamn movie,
like
which
I
is
said, the plot comes at you pretty quick in this one. I
the,
must have missed
the
it.
gigantic, terrifying mechanical shark that
I know, I thought
somehow.
yes, that happens, but I thought they were gonna fly before that.
No, they were. Well, oh no, you're right. So, you. No, okay.
Doesn't it
Fine.
happen as they're
Fine.
lassoing seagulls?
So they realize that they don't have sails or a rudder or like an
Yeah, so this
engine.
was I had the same thought though, Vic, because I was like, wouldn't it have made more sense the shark attacks first, then they have to get
Then they
away?
have to. No,
But
you're
no,
right.
they're already lassoing seagulls, then a shark attacks.
But here's the questions because I am not all right. I'm not all right.
No.
Who is this mechanical shark? Who built it?
Yes.
It's not a real
So,
shark.
right, we have to
And
say that this is not just a shark, it is a Terminator shark from
it's
hell.
it's consuming salmon in a vortex. Already
Yes.
doesn't make sense. There's not salmon in the Atlantic there, but that's a plot point that I will let go of because I think that is a minor aspect. But he's consuming the salmon in a vortex. He comes up and the shark is consuming salmon to produce pre-made plates of fish heads.
It was doing that, wasn't it?
So it begs so many questions. What was its purpose? Who built this? Is someone inside running it? Are the fish head plates to sell? Does that mean that the ants purchased the fish heads from this fish head making company? Or do they just wash up on shore? Because how are they collecting the now floating plates of fish heads? And what would be
No,
the
no,
purpose?
I think you got it. It is the manufacturer of fish heads.
It's the
That's how you
manufactured
get
fish
them.
heads.
That's how you
Somehow
get them.
it was never clear how the fish heads were being collected and then sold in stores, but I will acknowledge that are not the most pressing of questions. The And I don't want to spoil things too quickly,
Please
but
don't.
in the eventual destruction of the shark, did they not murder a pilot? Someone, are we saying that this thing was autonomous, or was it not being piloted by somebody, and is there now blood on the hands of all of the members of the James and the Giant Peach crew? Because presumably there was a crew in there that was just doing their job,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I
they're
think
dead
it's
now.
I think it's safe to say that James and his crew are willing to do whatever it takes to get to New York
I just
and
the
kill
the
whoever they need to get there.
why the shark even needed to be mechanical is very confusing. And I will leave a pin in this for my absolutely considerably more insane rabbit hole when I will bring this back on my thoughts. But I'm not going to get there yet because it doesn't make any sense until we get further into the movie why I have gone so deranged on this point.
Well,
I
we all can't wait for that rabbit
I
hole. This
I
is such a
I
juicy segment. I can't wait.
I apologize. It's not going to be a good payoff. I'm going to disappoint everybody, but I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I have to go down it.
All right, we'll get there when we get there. I'll just say this. I didn't read the book. Did you read the book?
No, I didn't read the book. So a lot of my
So,
questions might be being
so
answered in the
yes,
book.
so for all the listeners who read the book, we're sorry. We didn't read it, and we're never going to read it.
That's not
So
necessarily true.
maybe the sharks are super explained in the book, and it's a metaphor for
If
childhood
anyone tells
trauma or
me,
something, but we don't know that. We're just going off the movie.
if anyone tells me that this is more explained in the book, I will absolutely have to read the book.
Oh.
I'm invested
If anyone
in my
tells
rabbit
me to read
hole.
the book, I'm going to tell them to go to hell.
I think we need to get to the next major plot point problem.
Get us there. What happens?
Okay. They get the thing in the air, the seagulls. Let's all ignore the entirety of roping what appear to be about 40 seagulls to lift a peach that must weigh several tons. Irrelevant. Not my plot point that I have a problem with. The
Okay.
plot point that I have a problem with is they're now floating in the air, somehow directing the seagulls that never have to eat or land or anything. Not plot points I care about. They don't know what they can eat.
Yes, they have a big argument about eating,
They're like, there's no food.
and they're imagining eating each other.
They're imagining eating the seagulls. They're imagining eating each other. Miss Ladybug had a piece of soda bread in her purse, which is really on point as I have been offered soda bread by elderly British people.
What is soda bread?
It's bread made with like a carbonated beverage as opposed to like yeast.
Oh, like dump cake.
What?
We don't have time to get into dump cake. That we'll get into that in a later episode. But
I'm
all right, so they're fighting about eating, and then they realize we are riding
James.
on.
James informs them
Yes, that's right.
because he's
James,
the savior.
he's the smart guy. He goes, "We're riding a peach. We can eat this."
Who the fuck hollowed out the peach?
Well, I assume the bugs did.
And they
Earthworm,
just
probably.
forgot that they ate a massive cavernous
Oh, oh,
interior
I see what you mean. You're
dining hall.
right.
Like there's a banquet hall in the middle of this peach, which plot hole, where's the pit comes back at the end, but it's not in the center of the peach unless that whole banquet hall is off center, so the peach is even more
All right, now
enormous.
you're unraveling too much. It's really falling apart. Let's get back up to point.
They
Earthworm.
ate the
We
peach out.
forgot a good earthworm part.
Earthworm ate this peach hollow and
Yes.
then deigned to be eaten by the centipede rather than explain that the peach was edible.
He's an earthworm, Vic. All right, he's not very smart. I do want to mention we forgot when they get the to get the seagulls, they put earthworm up there and they tickle him, which I liked
Yeah.
to make him
Yeah.
wriggle around and track those birds.
It's
That
pretty
was
good.
funny.
Then we get one of the other unbelievably forgettable songs of the show,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
about eating the peaches. Uh,
I do not remember a word.
No, I don't either. In fact, every time I try and think of it, I think of the significantly better peach eating song, which is Millions of Peaches, Peaches for free,
That I
millions of
was thinking of that song too.
peaches for me, which is just way better. But it's disgusting. The musical number, the music is forgettable, but the actual visual of the musical number is super
But
gross.
let's get this clear. Do you like musicals? Do you like when start singing in cartoons
Um,
and stuff?
yeah, I like a good musical. I mean, I like ones that are I mean, like there's some greats out there. Like I think that all the music in Toy Story is pretty great. I think Lion King, I
Hmm.
completely understand why that's like a whole musical show now, like a Broadway. I like them. I just, like I like a good, you got to have a good villain song and you got to have a good like rallying your allies song. Like you can't just have these stupid descriptor songs of nothingness. Uh, I don't think anyone's going to be out here heavily defending the musicality of this particular production. It's
No,
not
it definitely
great.
seems like so without the credits, this movie is an hour and I don't know, 15 minutes. They probably got done and were like, we need to fill some time. We don't have enough of a script here to cover a full movie, and they just did the obligatory music.
It doesn't even get into the fact that at the very beginning, a bunch of these insects said some of them are carnivores and some of them are herbivores, and then they're all just eating peach. Whatever.
Eating peach.
Whatever. And drinking peach beer, very inappropriate.
Well, our boy Centipede tells them he's a master navigator and has been all around the world. And they trust him to fly the peach to New York. Everyone falls asleep. They wake up. They're not in New York, they are in the Arctic.
Yes.
And it pretty quickly comes out Centipede lied about being a navigator.
Where we get the first good curse word of the whole film.
Better than blow me or whatever the ant said.
That was an accidental, could be a Britishism. We got, I believe it is Cricket or Grasshopper says, Centipede to Centipede, Sir, you are an ass.
Yes, he does say ass.
He says ass. So that's pretty great.
That just shows you the drama going on in this kids movie. I'm not sure
I
why Centipede lied either. Like, why did he do that?
He's a blowhard. I mean,
The blowhard.
I think he's a decent depiction of an American.
Oh, dang.
It's a British person's description of an American. We're exaggerating our abilities and, our exploits.
Yeah. Well, they're all pretty mad at him and he feels
Mm-hmm.
bad. And
Mm-hmm.
this is also a part I might not have paid attention to. They decide really quickly that they see a ship in the water.
There's like a graveyard of broken
Right.
ships, and they decide that there could be a compass on one of them,
Okay, so they do say that.
or there must be.
There must be underwater a working compass.
Which I'm going to be honest, I did not expect that to be the solution. I expected the solution to be that James would maybe know how to make a compass because you can make them. And he seemed industrious. And I thought it was going to come out that his dad had taught him tinkering or something. No, nothing like that. They're going on the ship.
Well, Centipede decides he's gonna make it up to them and he just dives into freezing cold water.
Cue my because we've had some others that have come up, but my second nomination for best line of the show, which is that a grasshopper screams out, "He's committed pesticide!"
Oh, instead
Well,
of
suicide,
suicide.
pesticide.
That's good wordplay.
It's good. It's one of the better highlights of the film, I think.
So Centipede dives down to a ship and If you had given me 1,000 guesses on what was going to happen, on who was going to be in the ship, I wouldn't have gotten it right. He opens the door to the captain's cabin and he says, "Oh, a skeleton." It's Jack Skellington from A Nightmare Before
Yeah,
Christmas.
he says a skeleton, and then very shortly after, upon seeing the compass, he goes, jackpot.
Oh, I didn't even catch that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's a skeleton there. It is a skeleton. It is Jack Skellington. Like they
Yeah.
model it exactly off of him. He has a beard. That's the only difference.
He's got a hat.
He's got a hat.
But
Hi.
no, it's Jack Skellington. It's Jack Skellington, 100%.
So yeah, he's in this. I mean, I guess things went wrong in Halloween Land, and he's now at the bottom of the ocean.
Could
But
theoretically be a prequel.
okay, sure. That's possible.
Maybe when he lost his control over his ghost ship, he decided to become a Halloween decoration.
Okay, let's go with that.
Because I don't see how you become the mayor of Halloween Town and then degrade yourself to
You
the
don't
captain.
have you've never followed the news on what happens to mayors?
Oh, like they demoted him and then he tried to make it as a sailor
He
and got
develops
stuck out.
a crack problem. They
Oh.
impeach him. He's now a pirate in this world. But
Well, okay.
anyway, well,
Either way, he's in this movie.
he's in this movie. Centipede grabs the compass. He thinks he gets away with it. Nope. Jack Skellington is alive and has got him by the suspenders.
hmm And it's a pretty good redemption arc for Centipede. I think that he proves himself, uh, you know, pretty well. But it brings me to one of my dislikes of the movie,
Oh no.
um, which is that this redemption arc, which happens real fast, somehow leads to a slight romantic tension between he and Miss Spider.
Oh, don't get to that yet. We'll get to that.
Fine. Fine.
First we got a big zombie battle.
Eh.
Actually, we can get skip through that pretty quick.
It's an
Uh
again, it's unimportant. It's
we have a whole skeleton army on this ship. Centipede's got to fight him. His buddies come down to help, and they start smashing him to
yeah,
pieces, right?
James and Miss Spider come down to help.
Yes.
And there's a whole kind of Scooby-Doo-esque sequence of trying to get the compass from the spiders or from the skeletons and who has it and they lose it
Yep. They go round and round, and then
and I think there's music. It's so
maybe.
forgettable. I think this might be a musical number and it is very forgettable. I think that this might be Centipede's musical number and
N- No way. He doesn't sing while he's fighting, does
I
he?
think he sings while he's fighting.
I don't remember at all.
I
But
have in my notes least memorable music of any musical, which leads me to believe that at this point there was music that I've already forgotten.
yeah. Well, James and the spider have to leave, right? They get the compass and they get out of there while leaving Centipede behind to fight him off.
Mm-hmm.
And they get to the top. They're all around a little hole in the ice, and Spider Lady's about to go back for him. Then what happens? Hat floats up. And I think we all know what that means. He is dead. There's no way he lost that hat without being killed.
Dead.
Dead.
Yeah, but don't hold on to that too long because it's over almost instantly. The
But
suspense is
you
cut
you
short.
you feel that way too, right? Like I left my hat at your house once and you filed a police report, right?
I mean, to be fair, no one should see the top of your head.
You know, if
It's
that
too
hat's
ginger.
gone, someone took the head.
It's 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 too the red radiating energy of an uncapped ginger is too much for this world.
I'm cutting this part. I'm cutting this part out. I
We
don't want
should
the listener.
probably
I don't want the listeners to know I'm Ginger. Well, Centipede is alive. He comes out of that ice hole and Apparently, he's slaughtered all those skeletons by himself. They're all dead, and he's got their sword and part of, I think, an arm too.
Yeah, I think it's two arms because I feel like it comes up like sword, like it's like he's using their body parts as a jest. I will say, in defense, centipedes are terrifying animals that
All
are
right,
ruthless
so you
killers.
buy it. You buy
So,
that he killed all those guys.
I mean, on brand. I mean, there are a few insects where I would, right? You know, like a centipede underwater. No, that makes no sense. Although I bet a
Yeah,
centipede could
probably.
hold its breath for a while. I don't know. That's like again, I'm not a zoologist.
Let's stop all this science talk. Let's get into what we teased earlier, the romance that happens here.
Which is unacceptable and completely
You weren't
unnecessary.
invested in this relationship between Centipede.
No.
All right, let's get it out. Centipede and Spider kiss when he gets out of that ice hole.
First of all, he he was doing this as a redemption arc, and I'm happy for it. But like, you can't act like, oh my God, he did one decent thing to make up for the super shitty lying showboating that got us into this mess. Like, it's not like he's in the positive. He's brought himself to neutral,
Yeah,
right?
but
Like,
Spider was always into him. You knew that. They were fighting, they were
I
bickering
hate
all the
that.
time. It was a real.
It's just I hate it because I don't I don't like the dynamic. I think it makes no sense and I think it was completely unnecessary. And I just feel like of course they had to end up together. Why? Because they were the only like if this were a cast of people, they were the only two, they were a man and woman of roughly the same age, and God forbid they should be friends. God forbid a children's movie should not just end up with someone coupling. Like, I don't know, man. It's, and I just, she's too good for him,
Oh,
and he should know that. He's, he's, what is he? It's not for me. It's not for me.
well, I believe in their love.
Hmm. There's a musical interlude that happens at around this
Hmm.
time, which is deeply forgettable. Um, but it is where each of I feel like it's like where the animals talk about like their dreams and their or the bugs talk about like their dreams and their wants or like feelings or something like that. It's widely irrelevant. I just want to note that they all have a little bit of a thing that they go off on, except for Glowbug. Glowbug Lady has no dreams, no thoughts, no feelings. She's not involved in that musical number because she has to stay in the lantern in the middle of the peach, and this song takes place on the top. So I just want to again reiterate the unnecessariness of her entire character for the plot. She could have been a candle the entire time.
All right. Once again, shots fired at Glowbug.
No, I if you're gonna have her be a character. Don't just have her there for furniture. So then what? Then they're in the clouds
We're at New York, baby. They made it.
and we're at New York. Except dun dun dun.
Cloud Rhino.
Wild
I
Rhino.
said Cloud Rhino.
Oh, Cloud Rhino.
It was a
Wild
wild
Cloud
Cloud
Rhino.
Rhino.
It was nowhere to be seen across the entire Atlantic Ocean.
Yes, that would have been nice to maybe have it pursuing them the whole time instead of just randomly showing up at the end.
Yes. Uh, however, it appears randomly, um, and prompts my final nominee for best line in the film. And I'm not entirely sure. I think it's Centipede who yells it as they get knocked off course. He screams in terror, "We'll end up in Jersey," which
Classic.
is a good line.
That's some classic New Yorker comedy for you guys.
Yeah.
Very good.
And I would like to also state that this second appearance of the rhino is what sent me down my rabbit hole. And if it pleases the court, I would like to put forward my absolutely insane theory of the rhino.
All right, everybody, we're finally there. It is time for Vic's Rabbit Hole. Go for it. Let's hear it.
Okay. I am so sorry for what I am about to say, but also I need to say this. Do you know of the play Rhinoceros by Eugene Ionesco or Ionesco? I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know this play?
You know I don't.
God damn it, Jake. Okay. The play Rhinoceros by Eugene Ionesco. I had this thought. Did that play come out before the book? Where was this play in time in relation to the book? Because the play The Rhinoceros is an like very deeply weird, surreal uh play about people transforming into rhinoceroses and sort of rampaging through towns and villages
Oh
and
shit, that
cities.
sounds good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a fabulous play. It is an allegory for the rise of fascism and Nazis.
Ah.
Uh, as at the beginning, it's sort of like these people are crazy and over the top and nobody listens to them. But as there are more of them, as people in power start coming out as rhinoceroses, as people in your family start coming out as rhinoceroses, there's sort of this pressure to conform. You don't want to upset your family. People who are more moderate start turning into rhinoceroses. It's a deeply poignant play. My point. The play Rhinoceros, written 1959. James and the Giant Peach, 1961.
Okay.
Okay. And I thought, okay, but what if it wasn't a very popular play? What if, like, at the time, it had not rose to the popularity that it has seen in later years? Untrue. I looked up, just to be clear, what was the public reception of Rhinoceros when it came out and how widespread was its performances. Very. It got on Broadway, and in 61, Rhinoceros won Tonys.
Where are you going with this, counselor?
I believe it is entirely plausible that Roald Dahl and his readers at the time, especially the adult readers, would have been aware that the rhinoceros was an allegory for Nazis. Thus, his parents in London possibly killed in a blitzkrieg. The shark in the waters that they encountered, possibly a U-boat. The fact that the rhino is still appearing in the US because the US was also involved in the war. AKA, James' entire deeply tragic story has to do with him being a war orphan. And that's what the story is about. Also, I was just passed a sheet of paper, I'm not even kidding you, that said he was a spy. Roald Dahl was a spy. I didn't know that because I don't know that much about him. I went down this rabbit hole fairly uneducated about the background history of Roald Dahl or this book because, again, I haven't read it. I just had a fever dream. The rhino is an allegory for Nazism that people at the time in 61, adults, not kids, it would have been the subtext, but adults reading it would have read it as this is a Nazi because the play Rhinoceros was already unbelievably popular at the time.
Okay. Interesting theory. I actually have my own theory written down. It says,
Is it as insane?
well, mine just says rhino represents childhood trauma.
Fine.
So I think we're going to go with that, and I'm going to probably cut the whole part about Nazis from the podcast.
I feel like you're a coward.
It just doesn't, it's just
Listen
not, it
to
doesn't
me.
relate to anything today anyway.
I am so worked up about the idea that this is the possible explanation because as a kid, when I watched that, so much made no sense. The rhinoceros made no sense. Why they're living in this weird poverty made no sense. Why, like, what the heck was up with the shark. But if you make it Nazis, it all comes together. And I understand that I sound like a crazy person, but it fits and you can't deny it. There's facts. There's facts. It was on Broadway. They're only 2 years apart. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, that's the end of Victoria's rabbit hole segment.
I apologize for my
That
rabbit
was
hole.
great. It was
But
great.
I also don't apologize for my
Hey,
rabbit hole
you
because
you don't ever apologize for yourself.
I I I'm happy that you all came with me on this fever dream journey. Um yeah, I don't know what to do with that information. I don't know how it changes how I feel about James and the Giant Peach. But I think it kind of changes the movie for me.
Yeah, well, maybe for some people, yeah, just look at it through the Nazi lens, guys. It's all there. So James ends up facing his fears against the rhino. He cuts all his friends loose on the seagulls, and they all float away. And he basically
Mm-hmm.
just yells at the rhino. He's yelling, "I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you."
Yeah, you
Childhood,
gotta
stand
stand
up to
up.
childhood trauma, like I said.
Mm-hmm. Or
And
Nazism.
it disappears. It's gone. He won.
They impale the peach. Everyone's very lucky because he cuts his friends loose, and of course he
He
drops
drops straight on the Empire State Building.
Empire State Building. Yeah. And then we get a continuation of how utterly disgusting the peach
Oh
is.
yeah, so we're
As
back into live action again, and we got some gooey peach action going.
it's it's a rough transition of some utterly disgusting sound effects and like early days Nickelodeon goo, but in sort of like a peach color dripping
People are getting
everywhere.
slimed in the streets by it.
It's oozing. It's oozing.
And then we have a cop notice. Did you recognize the cop?
No, who was the cop?
He is the hitman guy from Dumb and Dumber.
What?
You didn't recognize him?
I did not. I did not. I kind of was like he feels like he's given a prominent role for somebody who is essentially a background extra. I mean he's necessary, but like is he?
I thought he did great.
He did great. He did a good job. Good for him.
I will say the set for New York pretty underwhelming. They basically did a play set for New York. It doesn't look like a real city at all.
Yeah, I mean stylistically that sort of like scenery appearance was better in when it was like just this kind of creepy house on a craggy hilltop. When it's New York, it looks more poorly done rather than a stylistic choice. I would have to agree. It's just because you can't get the proportions to look normal. Like everybody's hanging out a window, but the windows all only seem like a few feet apart.
Yeah.
It's just really you would expect that perhaps a high school could put together a similar New York set scene.
But hey, you know what? In the world of CGI we have today, I found it quaint.
Well, I'm glad for you. I'm glad that you found joy there in that moment with that set piece. I was too distracted by the fact that knowing New York as I do, there would just be so many ants and roaches. I mean, there's so much peach goo now on the streets and in gutters. That area of the Empire State Building is gonna be rancid for
Well,
weeks.
according to you, it was already rancid. Isn't that what you said in the beginning of the podcast?
Yeah, but like it can get worse. I mean, that's It's just it'll be uninhabitable.
The police jump into action and get James down from the Eiffel Tower. Or I mean, not the Eiffel Tower.
Yes.
What's it called? The Empire State Building.
The Empire State Building, the Empire State Building, with a speed that is unrealistic for construction workers and a crane. Because I've seen them move cranes, and that's real slow.
So you're saying you wanted to see the entire process of setting up a crane to lift a peach off of the top of the
Maybe,
tallest building in the
maybe,
world, all the prep work.
maybe. I'm not gonna say that I'm above watching videos of cranes, especially like the ones where you see them like in wind and they're just swirling around. But yeah, I understand why that wasn't included. I'm not gonna hold that against the film.
That's gracious of you.
No- yeah. Again, I'm understanding.
Well, speaking of ants, you said ants earlier getting in the.
I did
We
say
got a
ants.
couple ants, and they come driving out of the ocean. Ant Spiker and Ant Sponge are back. They
Mhm.
apparently drove their car through the Atlantic to get to New York.
Yeah, just on the ground, presumably.
The seafloor.
Begs begs the question, like, why couldn't they have been the pursuing bad guys like the whole time? Like, why did we need the mechanical shark? Or either way, again, I the like they just kind of come out of nowhere again. Like it's unexpected that they show up. But they say a line. They say a line as they are confronting him and trying to basically claim him and the peach that spoke to me deeply, which is this is all something he dreamed up. That's their
Oh,
accusation to
I
discredit
picked up
him.
on that as well.
This is all something that he dreamed up, which is essentially the line that my own mother has told me my entire life to gaslight me into not holding against her things she has absolutely done throughout my childhood. I will confront her about something, and she will say, "No, you must have dreamed that." And for a very, very long period of time, I struggled with the concept of did that really happen, or did I have an exceptionally vivid dream where that happened? Um, and so I feel this is deeply toxic language, and it is how adults manipulate children.
Oh, those ants. Just when you think they couldn't get any worse.
Yeah, but it's I mean, and of course it plays into the New York, being a city of dreamers, being everybody in New York's got a dream, whatever. But there was a song about it that the Bugs sang,
Of
right?
course, I think.
Who remembers any of the songs in this?
Well, they get into a bit of an argument. Our officer doesn't know who to believe. The boy screaming and crying about bugs and flying peaches, or two deranged women covered in seaweed and fish.
Mm-hmm.
Until, guess what? Our bugs are back, baby. The bugs are back. They float down.
They're
And
back.
this is what I love about New York City, Vic. I know you hate it, but this is what I love. People see
Sure.
these giant bugs float down, and like you said, Centipede's a 7 foot tall monster, and they accept them
Yeah.
immediately. No one screams, no one shouts insults. They like, welcome to the city. We take in everyone.
And I'll say, from my experience in New York, 100%
Ah,
accurate.
there you
Does not
go.
matter. Does not matter what you look like in New York. You are not special. No one cares. You could look utterly insane. You could be a 7 foot monster. And I don't think a single person would give you a second glance. Like, not even, they'd just be chill. They're just doing their thing. Everyone in New York's too busy. They don't mind. They don't mind what you look like.
It's a great city.
I will say that the arrival of the enormous insects also, I mean, it does sort of trigger fear in the ants, but isn't that when they decide to kill him with an axe?
Yes. Yeah,
Like
I
the boy, like not the
know.
bugs. They're like, this doesn't seem to be going our way in front of all these police officers. we're gonna grab these fireman axes and kill our own
Yes, I
nephew.
almost forgot about that. You're right. So when they see that it's not going their way, they jump to the nuclear option of coming at James with an axe.
Which makes no sense because they could just be like, well, the peach is ours and we don't actually really want this kid who we have to take care of. Like, I don't understand. Maybe in the book there's some sort of inheritance that they're getting through him. Like, I never understood why they wanted him back since they seemed to hate
He was their
him.
slave. Of course they wanted him back. They'd have
Yeah.
to paint chairs themselves or whatever he was doing.
Yeah. The insects begin to dole out sort of physical vengeance upon the ants,
Finally.
um, restraining them. They wrap them up. Miss Spider wraps them up in a very creepy sort of hanging mummy
Yep, yep. They cocoon them
wrap.
they string them up and cocoon them in web.
Yeah. And then as they hang there, James decides that he's going to make friends with everybody in New York by everybody just eating the
Yep.
peach as they hang there from the crane.
Hey, man.
They're gonna eat the peach. And I really love this for two reasons. The idea that they eat the peach because A, I think that it illustrates that New Yorkers will eat anything that is free. Um, and B, it implies that New Yorkers always have confetti on hands because as they begin to eat the peach, Macy's Day Parade confetti rains down throughout the entire city. So to me, I think that implies that New Yorkers are A, down to eat anything if they don't have to pay for it, and B, will throw confetti for the most minute of reasons.
Yep. It's a hell of a town.
It's a hell of a city. I don't want to be there, but it's a hell of a city.
And this brings us to our happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
James lives in the giant peach pit that was still in the peach somewhere,
Yeah,
and
somewhere.
he lives,
With Miss Spider exclusively? She's the only one shown, but I'm presuming it's all
I
the
think it's all of
insects.
them, and all his
It's
human friends
everybody.
are lined out the door to see him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fine. I don't know. It did nothing for me.
Oh, well, I can't wait for you to hear the next part, or next segment. But first, our magic man, or old man, does come back in the end.
Right, yes. He makes a reappearance, seemingly as abrupt as he came the first time.
Yep. And he was the narrator, and he wraps things up, and he basically declares that this movie was James's wish, and that the wish came true as the movie. Do you understand what? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, the that all the magic that he had access to and all he wanted was for us to watch and remember this movie, which I'm gonna be honest, is exceedingly forgettable. It's an exceedingly forgettable movie. I forgot it was live action a good chunk of the time. I forgot it was a musical almost the entire time. I forgot every single thing they encountered on the journey over to New York.
All right. So overall, you didn't like it?
Well, the very ending brings me to my final uh moment of note, which is the best song of the entire movie, is the song that begins the ending credits.
Okay, let's
Uh,
hear it.
Good News by Randy Newman.
Yes.
It's excellent, very, very off brand for the entire rest of the movie. It is literally nothing like any of the other music. It's like something you'd hear in uh, uh, Tiana, the Princess and the Frog one. Is that called the Princess and the Frog, or
I
did
think
I
that's
get that wrong?
it.
It's it's nothing like any other song in the entire movie, and it fucking rocks. It's catchy, it's beautiful, it's poignant. It has nothing to do with the movie. I don't know why it's there, but it's a great
Well, it's a
song.
kids movie in the 90s, so they knew at least they needed one Randy Newman song.
Randy Newman, he's a classic. He's a classic maker. And as I listened to it, because I was sort of starved, I guess, for some decent music to listen to, I came across my favorite credits, uh, which was the Peach Fabrication Unit. Did you see the Peach Fabrication Unit? These people are the ones responsible for what we
Oh, I just
saw.
looked at the cast. You're talking about the guys that
The lead peach fabricator,
yeah.
a guy named Steve Gawley, is who we have to blame.
Golly.
Uh, Gawley and his model tech, Vilija Contrimas.
Hmm.
I tell you, these people are sick. They're sick and they're twisted, and they had their fun making this utterly disturbing peach, and they're who we have to blame. The Peach Fabrication Unit. It's two people. I think if you're going to call something a unit, it should probably be more than two people, but only two people got credit.
Hmm. So you're saying you didn't like the movie?
I mean, no.
Well, I
I
am
did not like
shocked.
the movie.
You're a real Ant Spiker right now.
Oh my God. I wish her wardrobe is kick ass. What about you, Jake? End of
At
day.
the end of the day, for a kids movie, I think it's pretty good. It's got some very interesting stop motion. The creatures are pretty neat. I think Susan Sarandon makes a very, very good Spider Lady.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, the stop motion, I'll give it that in spades. Like the stop motion is very cool. I mean, I visually I find it very creepy, but it you can tell that was an immense amount of work and it's very artfully done.
Yeah, I will say, Nightmare Before Christmas definitely does it all better. Songs are much better, the
Yes.
story's much better, but as a kids movie, I think this one works. It's artfully done.
It's not wildly inappropriate. It's overly it's very sad, but I mean so's Bambi. Like what are you gonna do? Like it's not um I don't look back on it the way that some movies I hope we cover in this are like, why were children watching this? I think it's like you can still watch this with kids. I just think, I mean, it creeped me out then. And I think it would creep my own daughter out
Oh, that's
now.
what I was about to ask you next. Are you going to show it to her?
Not for a while. I She does like insects quite a bit, and I think that if you have a child that is likes insects, they will probably do better with this movie. Whereas if you have a child that is afraid of insects, I think this movie would make that worse
Oh, yeah.
because they're just so creepy in their design and they're like their eyes are very beady and their legs are very twitchy. I think if you had a kid that was already kind of afraid of bugs, this movie would scare them. I think if you had a kid that already thought bugs were pretty cool, this movie would be fine and they would love it.
Okay, fair. So I think we've covered about everything in this movie. We're ready to go to our final segment.
No,
What do you mean?
you watch? If you watch all the credits, I mean, and this is weird. This is a weird one because honestly, up until Marvel, I didn't know this was a thing, putting more movie at the end of the movie.
You're telling me
James
there's a
and the Giant
credit?
Peach has
There's a
an end
credit
credit.
scene? There's an
There's
end
an
credit
end
scene?
there's an end credit scene at the end of James and the Giant Peach. And what if I told you that it's one of the weirdest things in the entire movie?
Damn it, I didn't see it.
Imagine a creepy carnival game where Spike and Sponge are sitting on some sort of rotating sort of chair scenario, and a child's hands are feverishly pulling levers to cause a gigantic rhino to come out and stab them right up the butt. Right up the
Yeah.
butt. over and over and over and over again as they twirl around to creepy ass carnival music. The end.
My God, I missed it.
You missed it. It's weird.
Well, I'll have to rewatch. I'll have to rewatch the whole
The
thing.
whole thing, the whole thing.
Put that back into context. Well,
Yeah,
good stuff.
there you go.
Well,
Now it's the end.
now it's the end, and it comes to our final segment, the segment everybody loves. I call it Check Your Baggage. Get it?
I get
Like
it.
at the airport. But
Oh my
this
God.
segment, this segment's about we're gonna check ourselves
Hmm.
and see, do you think this scarred us when we saw it as a kid? Did it stay with us as emotional baggage? What do you think?
Jesus, it is such an unmemorable film, but at the same time,
Ooh.
it's kind of got elements that are unforgettable to it. Um, I think it's more disturbing than Nightmare Before Christmas, both aesthetically and because the plot is sort of very tragic and all over the place. Um, maybe I, I I definitely feel like I definitely feel like it could have I feel like it's had an impact.
Okay.
Maybe not the one it wanted to have.
Do you think it made you hate bugs or like bugs?
I do not dislike bugs, but my deep-seated issues with insects comes from my mother's almost militant insistence that I grow up to be a forensic entomologist, which is a super disgusting job that I didn't want to do. Um, and her constantly seeking out reference books that had images of dead human bodies festering in insects to try and make me be interested in forensic entomology. I think it
Hmm.
has nothing to do with this movie. I think that baggage is not something I can lay at the feet of James and the Giant Peach.
All right. Just a side note, we're going to learn a lot about Vic's mom on this podcast. Buckle up,
I
everybody.
I wish that I could be lying about that. But it was a major, major aspect of my childhood was her relentless pursuit to attempt to push me towards the career of forensic entomology.
That's wild. We got to get into that more later. Now, are you gonna ask me if I was
Yeah, Jake, you know what, Jake? You tell me. You tell me about how this movie shaped and formed you into the man we see today. Good, bad, and ugly.
well, when I think about it, I was disturbed by the rhinoceros eating James's parrots. That is unnatural. But I'll tell you this. So I remember watching this as a kid and getting to that end part, not the rhino in the butt scene, the
No, nobody
actual
saw that.
the begin before the credits ending. And I remember clearly bursting into tears, running out of the room and jumping into my mom's arms, crying.
Oh.
And and she asked me what was wrong, and I couldn't tell her because I don't think I even knew. I couldn't put it into words. But you know what it was probably? Is seeing how happy James was at the end, where he had all those bug guys as his friends and family, and then all those kids lining up to be his friends. That really hit me hard. Because I was
Oh.
a bit of a lonely boy.
Oh.
Just pretty emotional.
Poor Jakey.
So I'm gonna say yes. I carried that baggage with me my whole life.
I do question whether or not it is correct or healthy or good. Like, why do we tell such unbelievably depressing stories to children? I mean, like, yeah, ultimately he's happy and has refound like a family and connections and a place to belong, but like this story, I mean, on its face, this is an exceptionally sad story.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
I mean, weird.
I don't know why we do it, but we're gonna find out in this podcast.
Will we? I don't know if we'll find much of anything out in this podcast.
Well, I guess we'll see. Well, I think that's our episode. Great job, Vic.
Yay! I'm glad to have been a part of this, whatever this turns out to be.
Yeah, it's a movie podcast.
It's a movie podcast.
We'll see you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, it's Jake. Thanks again for listening to Movie Baggage. I just wanted to set the record straight. You heard me talking about crying earlier. That was like a million years ago. I'm hard as fuck now. Like, I hardly ever burst into tears anymore. I also wanted to let you guys know our next episode will be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I can't wait. See you then.